So here we are in our webinar tutorial about WordPress. WordPress will be broken into several different segments, so make sure that you tune in for each of them since they'll each have a little bit different lesson involved. So the first thing that I'd like to talk about when we're talking about our WordPress admin panel is really how to get to it. Whichever domain name you have and you're using for your website or your blogging site, your domain where you're going to get into your control panel is typically going to be yourdomainname.com/WP-admin. And that's pretty much standard across the board. It's very rare that it's anything other than that. So when in doubt, you'll remember your website/WP-admin, and you'll come to the login screen where you will put in your username and password. Once you've done that, you'll typically come to a dashboard that looks something like what we're looking at right here. This happens to be the Insights for Dentists dashboard. So a few of the things that we're looking at up the left side here, this very first link up at the top where it says the domain name, as you can see, if I hover over that, it'll actually give me the quick prompt that says visit the site. So if I wanted to go take a look at my live website, I would click this link right here. Some of the other controls that we have down the side are this one, which is the dashboard. That's what we're looking at currently. I've got my menu for posts, for media, links, pages, comments. And then this Genesis is something that's specific to my site. It's a special feature of the theme that we have. Some of our clients will see that they will also have this tab. A few others, depending on which theme we're using, may not. A few of the other tabs are the appearance, the plugin, users, tools, settings, and then a couple other optional buttons down here at the bottom. So in this particular session, we are going to start right at the top with posts. So this will actually be a quick lesson in how to create a new post. If you'll notice, when I hover over any of these links, the little triangle will show up on the side here. Depending on your screen resolution or the brightness, sometimes it's really hard to see these. So just know that if these menus are all collapsed, as they are right now, if you hover over them, it will give you the little arrow. So if I'd like to go in and make a new post, which I would, I will click on that little triangle and it'll open up some more options for me. If I click on posts, I would actually be able to see all of my posts that have been put into the system, all of them that have been published already, which ones are scheduled, and what might be in draft form. So you can control all of that here. This is great in the event that you come in and you put a bunch of posts in as drafts and then you need to come back and schedule them for time release. You can do that by visiting this menu. And for the sake of argument, though, let's go ahead and click the Add New button so that I can create a new post and show you just how that's done. So if you'll remember from any of our previous lessons, the most important part of your post is probably going to be your headline. With a good headline, it's more likely that somebody is going to click on your post and read the rest of it. So we want to make sure that when we come up with headlines, they're either in the form of a question or they're in an interesting statement that gets people curious and wanting to click in. So create your title and put your title here. Keep in mind when you create your title, if you can fit a few keywords in there, whether it's in the question or the statement, that will become what your post title is. And these are somewhat different. A lot of the time they will have the date stamp with it. In this case, it's got the category and it gives us a title here. So you can also, if you need to, change your title. If you put the title in and you have and the and for, you can actually take those words out and make this more keyword specific if you'd like. So keep that in mind. The next thing that I'll do is type in my body of the post. So the text goes here. So you'll just type in whatever text you'd like in this section here. If you'll notice, I'm on the Visual tab. The Visual tab is different than the HTML tab. We'll need to refer to the HTML tab if we are taking and embedding a video from YouTube or if we're taking code from somewhere else. But for general purposes, as you're leaning into this process and you're getting used to it, you'll just be concerned with the Visual tab. Something else that it's a very good idea to do in every single post that you do is put a photo. So if you can find something that relates to the topic that you're talking about, that's a great idea. If it's something a little bit more random, that's perfectly fine. Our eyes, when we're reading posts, need somewhere to land so that we can visually be stimulated while we're reading. When we try to just read all text, it can become a little cumbersome or a little awkward. The other thing that photos will do is when the blog automates over to Facebook, instead of seeing a thumbnail of your blog every single time, if you have a variety of photos, it makes it look like it's new information. So I highly recommend in every post that you can, put a photo. So the way that we're going to add a photo, we've put our title, we've put our text. If we're going to add a photo, we're going to click the little button that says Add an Image. And from here, you have several choices. We can add an image from our computer, from a website, or from our media library. This is just a quick lesson, so I am going to pop over into my media library and say that I would like to put a photo of our social media CD in here. You'll see it's in my media gallery. I need to click the Show button over on the right-hand side. I'll have a couple options. I can change the title of this picture if I'd like. I can also add alternate text, which I highly recommend, because if somebody visits our website on a smartphone, they actually won't see the photos that we put in. So if we put alternate text, people would know what the image is. I can click the alignment of my photo, and I usually put mine on the left or on the right because then the text will wrap around it. The other thing that you'll want to do is choose the size of the photo that you'd like. If you choose it and it's too large, you can always change the size of it as you're editing your post. So we'll click Insert that into the post, and as you'll see, the text is actually going to start wrapping around the photo. So this is perfect. Two other things that you need to do before you post is choose your category that the post is going to go into. Typically 5 to 6 categories per blog are good. We don't want to give people too many choices because they'll get a little confused. So when we're thinking about what types of posts and what days of the week, we'll want to make sure that we choose the appropriate category. And then the last thing, or next to last thing that we'll do is add some tags. So whatever your post is about, you'll want to list that in the tags section. Mine's about social media, and it's about our CD. I'll click Add there. And the very last thing, if I want to publish this to go out immediately, I click the Publish button. If I would like to change the time and date stamp, I'll just pop over here. And if I'd like to publish this on July 9 at 10 o'clock a.m., I just change the time, I click OK, and I click Schedule. So I just wrote my blog post, I categorized it, I tagged it, I added a photo, and I scheduled. Stay tuned for more lessons about your WordPress blog site.